Welcome to the Bringing You Home podcast. We're a group of mortgage professionals with no fame and no egos. We do, however, bring 55 plus years of combined mortgage experience and a strong desire to help everyone reach the American dream of home ownership. All of this while having fun, keeping it simple, and most importantly, bringing you home.
Jenskis, we're back.
I'm here.
I don't remember what episode we're in.
I think this is 10.
10?
Yeah, I think so.
I should have probably checked that before we started.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we're off to a little bit of a late start here at the Bringing You Home podcast in the WTF studios. If you haven't listened to the WTF Where's the Focus podcast, please like, listen, and join because it keeps us employed. And it's actually a very good podcast. You'll get a lot of great information and I think
motivation.
Motivational. And just there's been some really good guests on there that I think
I've been on there.
You have been. You're on there every week.
I am.
That I think would that share a lot of knowledge that's not just real estate based, but really life based, right?
Yeah.
So anyhow, let's get going. Let's start with the
market update.
Our guest is just laughing at us like, what the heck is
that
going
was
on?
So loud.
It was. Anyhow, before we go to the market update, we got a neat little boom mic cover here. That's pretty interesting. Makes that mic really big.
I know.
Anyhow, market update for today. And I think it's going to transition us into our featured guest, which we were so excited to finally get her to join us, as well as the topic that we're going to talk about. Did you know? Oh, that was my computer. Did you know that the average down payment for a borrower in California is, Jen, Nora, you want to take a guess? Average down payment, regardless of loan program.
I think it's about 3%.
If I had a no button, I would click no,
Oh.
but I don't. How about you, Jen?
I was going to say 3.5.
3.5. Nope.
Oh.
The average 12%. That is correct, actually, according to NAR, the National Association of Realtors in California. It's 12% is the average down payment that a first-time home buyer comes in with when they purchase home. So that's interesting because today's topic is actually down payment assistance. So we will be chatting with you. Well, we'll be chatting with our mortgage professional, our senior loan officer, our Chairman's Club winner, Nora Casares, and have her share what she's, I think, one of the things she's best at is providing homeowners with the best possible program. And in many cases, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it is the down payment assistance route. So before we get started, I want to introduce Nora, or more importantly, I'd like to have her introduce herself. So Nora, take it away.
Well, my name is Nora Casares. I've been a loan officer for over 22 years.
Senior loan officer.
Senior loan officer. So I've been in the industry for quite some time, for about 22, 23 years. I started off as a loan officer assistant, quickly got my license, and I've been licensed for a very long time. My specialty is first-time home buyers.
Ignore that. That's me. But somebody enjoyed it.
I'm a single mom of 2 boys. I bring them to work sometimes, work from home. And together we enjoy bringing families home.
Just like the podcast.
Wow. That was pretty, a pretty good introduction. Oh my goodness. You are the first guest that shares some personal information. So that's awesome. Thank you. I think Nora is being very, what's the word I'm looking for, Jen?
I don't know.
She's not boasting about herself, right?
Yeah.
I think she's being as oh God, the word's not in top of my mind.
I was going to say modest.
Modest. Thank you.
Yeah.
Extremely modest because Nora, I've known Nora for a while. And Nora is a phenomenal loan officer. Her production is, second to none. The quality of work is second to none. And I think if there is, like many of our loan officers here, I would entrust them with any of my family members because of the fact that she does business the right way. Her team does business the right way. And that's all you can ask for from a loan officer. And she educates you. There are so many loan officers in our industry that would never, ever, ever discuss first time homebuyer programs. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So before we go into some of those, why do you think that is? Why is it that there's loan officers that won't venture into this pool?
Of the first time home buyer.
Yeah.
First, first time home buyers, I mean, it's a special thing. We're helping people accomplish the American dream, right? Of owning your home, owning your first home. So in my experience, it's a lot of hand holding, really diving deep with the buyers, looking into many types of programs. A lot of first time buyers don't have a lot of down payment to give. And I believe that really discourages a lot of loan officers because they don't want to look into the different programs.
Is it more work than a regular loan?
It can be. Just because, like I said, there's a lot of hand holding.
Mhm.
There's a lot more explanation that we have to give buyers because this is their first time. So they are completely in the dark as to how things work, what comes next. So it is a lot more work on a daily. Choosing the type of loan for them, let's say a down payment assistance, I think is under the impression to most that it requires a lot more work and it takes a lot more time to close. And that's not the case. Not nowadays. Maybe that was the case 20 years ago, but not right now.
So on an average, right? I think our office is closing somewhere between 17 to 20 days on average, right? That's going to be skewed. And I do think first time home buyers programs take a little longer. What would you say is the average turnaround time?
I think we can close them in 30 days or less.
Okay. So that's a significant difference, right? From the past.
Yes.
Because in the past, it would take sometimes 45 to 60 days.
Exactly.
Right. So, so the time, the length of time it takes to do that has obviously been condensed, which is, and makes it a loan that more people or more realtors. I apologize, everybody. I can't turn off my notification.
That's okay.
But that most realtors would accept now, right? Because in the past they were a little leery of the fact that it took so long.
Yeah.
How about paperwork? What do you see? Is it more or less? Is it the same?
I think it's the same. I mean, if anything, there's probably 2 additional forms on behalf of the agency that we're using that they have to sign. But that takes less than 30 seconds to sign it and go through it.
Okay.
Nothing additional as far as income document or asset documents that they have to provide. Everything's still the same. And they do, however, have to take a first-time home buyer course. Now,
Okay.
they could either do it in person and they're done. You show up, it's an 8-hour class and you're done. They give you a certificate. Or you could do it online. You sign up to the course. You could do it at your leisure. I've had buyers do it in 2 hours and the certificate gets emailed to them within like 24, 48 hours. And that's pretty much the only extra step.
So literally 2 extra sheets of paper.
Literally 2 extra sheets of
All right.
paper.
And again, it's crazy to me that some loan officers will not venture into this world considering the benefits for the borrower, number one, and just putting somebody in a better position, right? And I think we strive to do that here, is to make sure that our customers are well taken care of. So paperwork's not much of an issue,
Nope.
right? Time isn't much of an issue. So why, I mean, in your experience, why else wouldn't someone want to, whether it be a borrower or a real estate agent, want to go through this process?
Why they wouldn't?
Yeah.
wanna go? I just think there's not enough knowledge about the programs out there. I think, nothing against anyone, but I think we think down payment assistance. Oh my God, we have to learn a whole new program. We have to learn a whole new way of doing things. And I think automatically we start de- deterring ourselves from wanting to learn one more program.
Right.
Because we think it just takes longer. Like I said, back maybe 20 years ago, using the same agency that I use now, it was taking about 2 weeks in underwriting, but back then we were sending physical files over to them.
Yeah,
Everything
big
was
difference.
paper, tangible, everything took longer. Now with everything is e-signatures. We upload everything. Things are so much easier. The agencies are up to date, just like all the lenders are. It's so fast. It's literally, like I said, it doesn't take any more time than it would a regular loan.
So I remember when I started back in the days when there were fax machines. Do you know what a fax
Yeah.
machine is, Jen?
And they used to make
Like-
noise when the paper was coming in.
Right? Kind of like the noise, the pinging that you're hearing now. But back in the day, I remember we used to have to go in and reserve the rates and wait for on a DOS type of program and
Mhm.
wait for them to get it back to us. And then we had 10 other sheets that needed to be filled out. It was just kind of a bit of a hassle, but it was something we went through, right?
Right.
So it's definitely more streamlined, which is a positive.
Mhm.
And I think, would you say, or would you agree that there is a tremendous, or there's a lot more first-time home buyer down payment assistance programs in the market today than there was just say 10 years ago
Oh,
or
yeah,
15 years ago?
most definitely. I mean, it goes from state
Mhm.
agencies, like Golden State, like CalHFA, and then it narrows down to cities. A lot of the cities also have programs for the first-time home buyer. The biggest difference between like the state agencies versus the cities is that the cities very quickly run out of money.
Okay.
So
Mm,
by the time everybody hears about it,
right.
it's gone.
Yeah.
Reserving and going through their process is a little bit different, and they run out of money quickly.
And do the cities typically give more, right?
They do.
They do.
They typically do give
Oh.
more for down payment. Yeah. But they still have the same criteria, got to have a FICO score above, 640, 660. Their debt to income ratio has to be within a certain margin as well. So that's all pretty much the same, but yeah.
So speaking about criteria, do they all have generally the same criteria? What are some highlights? I mean, not going into any single program in itself, but just specific highlights that you see across the board, because there's differences, but
Right.
what are the specifics?
So the more general ones would be like the credit scores for a government, an FHA with down payment assistance. It's going to be a 640 FICO score or higher. For conventional, it's 680 or higher.
Okay.
Debt to income ratio, we're at 45% or lower. And that's pretty much the margins.
Okay. So that's a little more restrictive, right? In terms
Yeah.
of, I mean, if we're going to be honest here, it's a little more restrictive in terms of how much you can buy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're not coming in with anything, right? So
Right.
it helps. Can you put additional down payment
Yes. you
to
can.
add with the down payment?
Yeah. So if you have 10% of your own money and you want to use a little bit more, down payment assistance to help you with down payment or to cover the closing costs, you could divvy it up any way you need to, and you can put it on top of your own down
Okay.
payment.
So some of these programs not only offer down payment assistance, but they also offer closing cost assistance, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how about the rate? Do you find that the rate is similar or higher or lower?
I have, throughout the history of me doing these loans, I have felt that they've been pretty up to par with the market, sometimes even a little bit better. Right now, the way the market is, it is a little different. So right now they are a little higher than your par rate out there.
Right. And that's probably got to do with with inflation and all that stuff, right?
Correct.
And so it is typically a government program.
Correct.
There's some different things that bring those margins up a little bit. In the past, this is a question I have. I don't do as many as I used to in the past, meaning I don't do any. But
I know, I kind of looked at you like, really?
You are the queen of bond
yeah,
programs.
she is. Not
She-
me.
yeah, she
I'm
is.
not the queen of the bond
Yeah.
program. But in the past, there was something called a recapture tax.
Mhm.
Do we still find that in down payment assistance programs?
No more.
No more.
recapture. Yeah.
So just again, to educate the audience why these programs have become even better than they were before. In the past, for example, the California Housing Finance Agency, I don't even know what the new name of it is, CalHFA.
CalHFA.
CalHFA. It used to be CHFA, which in Spanish means chafa, which means a bad thing. But anyway, that was my talking point back in the day. But in the past, right, you kind of had year 1 through 9, you paid almost all of it back at a
Right.
very simple interest, right? It was like
Right.
3% simple interest, which is almost nothing. But you had and then 2 through 2 and 8, you paid a little less. If you got to year 5, you paid almost
Yeah,
nothing.
it was almost gone.
So it was kind of like on a mountain. It looked
Right.
like the diagram would look like a mountain, right? And in the middle of that, year 1 through 9, which is year 5, you paid nothing or very little, 20%, I think it was. So that's gone away.
It
So
has.
really, it literally is free money.
It is. And then there's some programs that CalHFA has, without trying to mention any agencies, but there are some programs out there that start off as a second, and after year 5, it becomes a grant. It's a forgivable grant.
Okay.
So if you don't refinance or sell your home within those 5 years, you no longer have to pay any of it back.
So when you say the differentiation between a second and a grant, a second is actually a lien
Correct.
against your property. So if you were to sell the property, right, that would come out of your proceeds. You'd have to pay back.
Yes.
But after those 5 years, it's free money,
It's free money.
right?
Oh,
Who doesn't like free
That's
money,
good.
I
That's
know.
good to know.
right?
It's a great program.
I
Yeah.
could buy an extra pair of Dunks,
There you go.
right?
Oh gosh.
Or maybe that Bad Bunny CD I've been trying to get. Do they still do CDs? I don't know. Anyhow, it's a long-standing joke. Don't worry about it.
No. No.
What you said you didn't want to mention agencies, but I'm curious. So even there's some that you work with a little bit more than others, right? Some nuances to them. Meaning, what makes one something? I know it's got to do with the borrower itself, right?
Right.
But
right.
so why don't we talk about 2 different ones, right?
So
And just share a little bit about
yeah, so the 2 that I've worked with in the past and continue to work with are like the Golden State Authority, Open Door. That one has different tiers of interest rates versus what the down payment assistance grant will be. So the higher the interest rate, the higher the down payment assistance that they'll give you. Still a great program. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer for that one. You can't own another home, but you don't have to be a first-time home buyer for it. Now, the CalHFA program only has one rate per program. So they have a few different types of down payment assistances that you can use by themselves or combine with each other. And those typically have one interest rate per program. The agency posts them on a daily basis. By 8 a.m., those rates are posted. And that's the one I tend to use the most. Right now, Open Door have had no rates posted, meaning
Okay.
they're not even
Oh.
using
Can't
it right
really
now.
sell it, right?
You can't really sell it.
Yeah.
But CalHFA is still using not all of its programs, but it still has some programs available.
Okay. And what about how about income? Like, are there income restrictions to these loans?
There are some income limits.
Yeah.
And they're both a little different. They will go off of county. So depending on the county that you're going to buy in, that's the income restriction that we have to look up.
Okay.
And every type of down payment assistance program will have a different income restriction.
Okay.
What?
So go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna ask, when you're qualifying a borrower,
Mhm.
what's the first indicator that we're gonna go
We're gonna-
bond?
We're going to go this route.
Yeah.
They have no money.
No money. Not
No
a lot of
money?
savings. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So someone who's taken care
So
of their
from the beginning, when they take you their documents, you're like, oh, we're going bond.
Right. And some of them will tell you straight off the bat, I have no savings.
Oh, okay.
I definitely need some help. I
Yeah.
need some down payment assistance program, some first time home buyer.
Well, I
programs.
guess it's nice to have that option, right?
Yeah.
I guess they're realistic. They don't have savings, so we have to go bond. Or Myra did mention if you want to save your money, so
Mhm.
when you get your house, you can start buying a washer and a dryer
Right.
and some furniture.
G-Wagon.
A G-Wagon
G-Wagon.
to go with your new house.
You got your down payment assistance in, but you got your G-Wagon.
Right.
But,
So.
but the
That's right.
G-Wagon's there.
What I'm giving you some stuff that we didn't talk about previously. Actually, we didn't talk about any of this previously. So,
None of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
but
It's natural. Good
approximate
conversation.
right? Approximate amount of family could earn in Los Angeles County
So
for the Cal HFA, because I know each
Right.
product, but let's talk Cal HFA for a
So
second.
it used to be like family based in your household, right? So
Mm-hmm.
everybody in your family, whether they were going to be part of a loan or not, we had to count that income.
Oh,
Okay. So Jen, if you and I were buying a home together, but you were not on the loan for the down payment assistant programs, we would still have to count your income.
income.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and make sure we met those, the income guideline restrictions. In Los Angeles, I believe we could go all the way to 190, just off the top of my head, 195,000 or so.
That's a significant amount of money,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
195,000.
Yes.
that's
For income. Typically Orange County, LA County, all the high balance counties are going to have the higher.
Higher.
income.
Yeah.
And it's based off of whoever's going to be on the loan. So
Okay.
no longer your household, just
Okay.
whoever's
That
gonna
makes a big
qualify.
difference, though, right?
Yes, it does.
How about Riverside and San Bernardino County?
Those are a lot lower, but they're still pretty high. But they just changed them not too long ago. So, but I want to say they're in the low. I want to say like they're about 105.
Oh, that's still a big.
That's
90,
dollar.
I'm sorry, 98,000 or 105, one of those two, because they were changing them.
I remember when they were like 37,000.
37,000.
So, I mean, obviously houses cost a lot more,
right.
but it's good that these housing finance agencies and these down payment assistance programs are going up with the times, right? So we're
Yeah.
still not. So there was a time there where it was almost difficult to use because of the income and the
Right.
sales price of the houses.
Right.
Are there sales price limits?
That depends on your county loan limits. So if you're
Okay.
doing an FHA loan, it's whatever your county loan limit
Okay.
is.
And that's a change as well, right? Because in
Yeah.
the past there were
Yeah.
specific sales price limits. So these programs are really evolving.
They are, which is why I don't know why people
Why
don't
people
use
Don't
them
take
more.
advantage
Right.
of it, right?
Yeah, because it's like qualifying for a regular loan,
With
especially when it
two
comes
extra
to limits,
steps.
with 2 extra steps and with some additional money,
Yeah. And minimal paperwork.
minimal paperwork.
There you go.
Mhm.
Jen, you got any? We're trying to convince Jen to buy a house in the next. Well, we said 6 months. Now we're down to 4 months. So would this be something that interests
We
you?
might
Jen?
have to bump it back up.
Yeah, I know. Well, now you don't need to save money. So
Right.
right.
That's true. I might have to go to
I mean,
Nora.
I know a loan officer. I mean, we've had a few loan officers, but I
Right.
know a loan officer
the
that we
queen
can,
of
That
bonds.
specializes
that specializes in that, right? So, do you have realtors that specialize solely in this?
Not in this specific program, but I do have realtors that advertise it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because they do like working with first-time home buyers a lot.
right.
So this is one of the programs that they use a lot.
Is it? What about? So, I mean, again, you are very humble, right? And you've been modest.
Modest.
But speaking solely about the Cal HFA, you're a preferred lender on that, right?
Yes, I am.
How did you become a preferred lender? Meaning that you get referrals from them, the agency in itself,
Oh.
Yeah.
because you've done so much business with them,
Yes.
refers business directly to you. Is that why? I mean, how did
Exactly.
you get on that list?
Yeah, so they go off of quarters. So if you do a certain amount of Cal HAFA loans within 3 months, then if you do that consistently for 2 quarters, then they make you part of their leads, their leads program. If you are just, I believe it's even like the percentage of the business that you do with them is even higher than the norm. They actually make you part of their hero program. So not only are they giving you leads, there's like top 3 to 5 preferred lenders.
Okay.
Yeah. So they'll put you on the very top. and
Oh,
they-
wow.
Yeah. They provide leads to you,
Yeah.
but it's an ongoing thing. So you do have to keep closing a certain amount
Right.
every quarter. Yeah.
How about, do you have to go through classes or certified to do these
You
programs?
do.
You do?
Yeah. You
Mhm.
have to do, it's like once a year,
Okay.
and it's just online classes, and they just got to make sure you're up to date with all the programs because they do tend to change.
And your company has to be.
Yes.
Right.
Oh.
Approved.
I
with
got
that
a
as well.
feeling I know what company you work for based on the t-shirt you're wearing, but
Oh.
right. some free advertising. Maybe they'll
Why
sponsor
not?
this
Maybe.
podcast. What do you think? I don't know. Considering everyone on the podcast works for that company.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think that's a tremendous amount of information, and this is really something that's a little bit more detailed. So I hope we can have you back to really just kind of maybe just speak on one of these programs with a little bit more detail, right? But before we we depart, I wanted to just, because I think it's interesting. I think buying a home there's never a bad time. I had a conversation with a brand new realtor. He's 18 years old yesterday, and
Aw.
he's all, I just got I'm taking my test. I finished my classes. I'm ready to go. And he said, but it sucks because you can't even buy a house right now. It's a horrible time to buy a house. And I'm like, buddy, you're in the wrong industry, man.
Yeah.
Why are you being
If that's how
come on,
he's-
if this is how you're thinking.
Right.
So you're two things. Number one, your take. Is there ever a bad, and I ask everybody this, is there ever a bad time in your experience to buy a house?
No, I think regardless of what the industry's doing, the market is doing, if it's the right time for you and your family, it's the right time to start shopping.
Right.
Yeah. If all your ducks are in a row and you feel like that's where you're at, hey, don't let anything hold you back.
And I'd go one step further, right? I think in today's market where I think I read a stat, and it was over like 30% of listings were having price reductions, right? Meaning that as a consumer, you have an opportunity to negotiate, right? So if I was buying a house and I was getting down payment assistance, I would also negotiate for the seller to pay my closing costs.
So
And
then
if
you
I could
come
get
in
them
with zero,
right, I could come in with zero. And that happens, right?
it happens. Absolutely.
And if I did that, down payment assistance came in with zero, not only would I be able to save money for all the other stuff I have, but it's actually cheaper than renting, right? Because when you go
Right.
rent, I mean, you need to put in a first, a last, and a deposit.
Yeah.
So, in all honesty, you can get into a house for cheaper than
Yeah.
Renting.
if you're in that situation now, and with the rents being so high, you may be somewhere comparable on payment,
Right.
right? And you own something.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of not being afraid of buying a condo, single family resident, whatever it is that's going to,
right.
lead
Your first
to
step, your first property.
this. And I should have touched on this sooner, but not made for investors.
Right. The
Right.
program, no.
Can you do duplexes?
Open Door allows for 2 units or duplexes. CalHFA does not.
Okay. How about condos?
Condos,
Yeah.
yes. Manufactured homes.
Yes.
Properties, single family residences within the ADU.
Okay.
They do allow for that. And we can actually use rental income on them as
Oh,
well.
wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So this program, I mean, the program's obviously been progressing.
it has.
Right.
And but I think to our audience, the most important part of this conversation is, you don't necessarily have to have a lot of money to buy a home. What you do need is a extremely gifted mortgage professional
Right.
that is willing to
That will-
educate you on this and all the options that are available to you. That's why we continuously say, start. You got to start.
Mhm.
Talk to somebody first, and then let us guide you through the process. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might be in a year, right? But we'll get you to the point where you're ready to buy a house, whether it's because you need to increase your income, whether it's because we need the houses to come down a little bit, whether it's because we need the rates to come down but we will get you into a home, and we'll give you a strategy to get there. I think that's probably the best thing we can leave. So Nora, before you share a little bit of where people can, get in contact with you, because I think we're at like 2 million listeners at this point.
Oh.
So I didn't say downloaders, I said listeners, right? But
Two.
before you share,
More like two, just
More-
two.
more like two.
Not the million.
Yeah, not the million.
more like two, it's us two.
Yeah.
So I do want to, we like to ask you some questions,
Okay.
right? That I know you're not ready for. Favorite restaurant?
My favorite. Well, it's a sushi restaurant. My favorite sushi restaurant. It's Zip Sushi.
Zip
in
Sushi.
Eastvale.
All right. So is sushi your favorite food?
It is.
Yeah.
It
Really?
is. I like everything, but I really always go for sushi.
Yeah.
All right. You got a
It's a
question,
good
Jen?
one.
Let's
No.
alternate. No?
Oh, do I have to ask?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Favorite type of music?
Okay, then he stole my question.
Oh, well, I have I listen to everything. Very eclectic.
Music.
Yes. I mean, I grew
Taste.
up with Air Supply,
Ooh.
Queen,
And you sing
Los
too.
Bookies.
Oh.
Los Bookies.
And you sing too, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I like to sing.
There you go.
Yeah.
How about favorite color?
Blue.
Blue,
Although I'm
That's-
not wearing any today, but blue.
right?
It's my favorite too. I love blue. It's a
Sorry.
good color.
Yeah.
Jen is really bad at this game because she never
I
has
really
a question.
am.
She never has a question.
Okay,
She
what
can-
is your favorite sport?
To watch? 'Cause I
Yeah,
don't
to
play.
watch.
Okay. I love watching basketball.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Today's opening day.
Yeah.
I got 2 tickets for sale to the Lakers. Anyone wants it? I mean, it's for Thursday. For home opener. Anybody I'm sorry. What state would you go visit if you had an opportunity to?
Like,
State. There's only 50.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Hmm.
Huh, interesting.
Haven't been close, but I haven't been.
You haven't been? Boston's awesome.
That's why I want to go.
Yeah.
oh, is that why?
Boston.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say Boston, but Boston's
Yeah,
not,
not
a
a
state.
Stay.
How about your favorite city?
My favorite
It can't be
city?
Boston.
No, because I haven't been. I'm gonna have to say Los Angeles.
Really? I
Wow.
went this weekend. I was like, this is the worst city ever. I never like
Really?
going. No.
You
I
either
mean,
love it or you don't.
Yeah.
I love living in California.
Yeah.
Would I live in LA? Maybe not, but
You like to visit.
That's the closest, biggest city that I would,
Right.
Like
How about country you want to visit?
country I want to visit. I want to Costa Rica country. Yeah. right?
Yes.
That's a
She's much better at doing loans and geography.
I want to visit.
Yeah, Costa- oh,
I heard
gosh.
it's beautiful.
I have to. Too bad I don't have
Yeah.
any money.
I know there's no
No.
traveling right now.
And then I guess I'll leave you. Get another one?
No.
No? Okay. This is my new favorite question,
Okay.
right? Well, 2 more. Cowboys or Raiders?
Neither.
Dang. Gotta pick one.
If I had to pick one, I'll be true to my city, even though they're not part of my city anymore, but I'm going to go with Raiders.
Amen. See?
That's
I knew
like
she had
2-0.
class. She had class.
Oh, really?
And then last but not least, and I'm gonna make Jen share another one.
Share
Your
another what?
childhood crush,
Oh.
but it has to be an actor
Mine,
or actress.
I think I still have this crush,
Oh,
Keanu Reeves.
Oh.
Why do you look at me like that?
okay,
I
that's interesting.
don't know. It's been my childhood
Hey,
crush.
he's a man of the people.
You know?
He really is. He really is. How about you, Jen? You got another one?
I don't think so.
No. Do you
No.
want to share with Nora who it was? Because she doesn't listen to the podcast, so she didn't hear.
Oh,
who
I
was-
said
who was your
Zac
child-
Efron.
Oh, well, he's cute.
Yes.
He's too young for me though.
Yeah.
See, I need
that's my
somebody older,
childhood.
so it's
Well,
Keanu.
it was childhood. That's
Right.
interesting. Mine was Katie Holmes, but I got a lot of grief for that. So my new one is Rachel Bilson. You do love. Rachel-
Okay.
You don't know who Rachel Bilson
No,
is.
no,
It's
I'm
okay.
like, that's why I went like this.
Yes.
Wait, who was it?
Rachel Bilson.
No.
Wait, I think I know who she is.
She's
I'll have to Google.
okay. She was from the OC. Anyhow,
From the OC.
Nora, why don't you share some of your, where people can contact you? I'm sure they're going to want to contact you instead of Jen or I. So,
Right.
where people can contact your socials or I know that you put in some, good information on
Oh, yeah.
Facebook. You
Yeah.
do some videos and stuff, but just a number and an email where people can reach you if they have any questions.
Yeah, I'll share my number.
Okay.
So my phone number is 951-757-0903.
Only
And
business related calls, please.
Only business related. I mean, I'm on Instagram. I just don't know my
Your
what is it?
handle.
Your
My
handle.
handle. Is that yeah? But if you call me or text me, I can give you my handle.
There you go. Nora, before we say goodbye, Jen has a segment that everybody, all 2 million people, are so excited to hear.
Office update.
I mean, it's been pretty slow. But I do have one office update. The refrigerator is disgusting
I thought we cleaned
Myra
it.
just cleaned it on Friday.
and it still smells. Yeah. So that means it's still dirty.
Okay.
Well, now you got a job.
You got a scrub.
Not me.
Yeah. So I wanted to just say thank you for joining us here at the Bring You Home podcast, and I hope you'll come back.
Yes.
I hope
Thank you.
that I really think it would be great if you came back and just kind of detailed one
Right.
program specifically. So maybe in a couple of weeks, if you don't mind, that would be great.
There's
I
some
think.
I know there's some new programs coming on, and hopefully we'll
Oh.
have more information next month on them. So that would be great. Yeah.
Awesome. I will try to have Keanu Reeves on here for you.
Could you? please?
No
Or else
guarantees.
she's not coming.
But
He's
I
not
will.
married, so I have a chance.
Perfect.
I'll try. I'm sure you have
We'll
more than a
have
chance.
Our people reach out to his people.
Right there, you go.
We have no
That's
people
it,
though.
That's it.
I know. But yeah, no, once again, thank you for joining us. I know you're busy. We really greatly appreciate your time. We went over the allotted amount you gave us,
No
Um,
worries.
and hopefully the company doesn't go bankrupt because you weren't on
Oh,
available
I
for
hope so.
for the 2,000 customers that just called you.
Yeah.
Anyhow, thank you again, and Jen
Yeah.
will
Thank you, you guys.
get us out of here.
Thank you all for tuning in. Glad we were able to provide you with some useful information while bringing a little joy to your lives. Like, subscribe, and share on all social media platforms. We want to interact with you by answering your questions and having you as part of the community. We look forward to bringing you home.